Welcome back to my channel, The Research Narrative. In this video, I am going to break down various ideas related to teaching aptitude, which is one of the most important topics of UGC NET exam, and also various competitive tests related to academia, as we are preparing for UGC NET December 2026 session. So I will start with teaching aptitude. So first goes with, what makes a truly great teacher? Is it just memorizing a textbook cover to cover and lecturing a room full of students? Or is it something much deeper? So, if you look closely at recent NTA trends and previous year's question papers, you will realize one thing. The exam doesn't care if you can memorize definitions. They want to know if you can think like an educator. So, welcome to day one of our Ultimate UGC NET Paper 1 Masterclass series. Today, we are cracking the foundational code. What exactly is teaching aptitude? So, by the end of this video, you won't just memorize these concepts, you are going to master them structurally so that no matter how tricky the assertion reason questions get, you will spot the correct answer instantly. So, if you are serious about clearing your net for the forthcoming cycle and want a structured step by step breakdown of the entire syllabus, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notification. So, let's dive straight into it. So, the term teaching aptitude is a combination of two powerful words, teaching and aptitude. So, before we combine the words, let's put them apart. So, first we'll look at what teaching is. In traditional terms, people think teaching is just a formal process where a knowledgeable person transmits information or knowledge to a learner. But for UGC NET, this is an incomplete view. In educational philosophy, teaching is understood as a highly structured social process. Specifically, in your notes, please write down it is often described as bipolar or tripolar process. So, the process of bipolar is proposed by John Adams. It implies a narrow two-way interaction, just the teacher and the student. That means both the teacher and the student are at the two ends of the pole. However, with time, thinkers like John Dewey term education as a tripolar process. This is the modern view NTA loves to test. It involves three distinct elements. Please note that the first one is the teacher, the second one is the student, and the third one is the environment or curriculum. So ultimately, teaching is a deliberate, planned interaction designed to bring about a relatively permanent change in the learner's behavior and thought process. So now let's quickly look at the term aptitude. So what does this actually mean? So let us first use an analogy. Think of an elite athlete. You can train almost anyone to run, but true athlete aptitude means that the particular athlete possesses an inherent physical capacity, quick reflexes, and a mental stamina required to excel at the highest level given the right environment. So, similarly, if we bring that analogy in academic terms, aptitude is an inherent capacity, fitness, or natural ability to acquire a specific skill. It represents your latent potential. It answers the definite question: do you have the natural, mental, and psychological makeup to excel in a particular field once you are trained? So now let's combine these two concepts, teaching and aptitude. So it is not just about loving a subject, and it's definitely not just about wanting a stable job. So teaching aptitude is the systematic possession of the requisite knowledge, psychological skill, immense practice, and analytical ability required to facilitate effective learning. When NTA frames a questions presenting you with a classroom crisis, say for example an aggressive student, an indifferent backbencher, or a highly diverse classroom with different learning paces, they are actually teaching your teaching aptitude. So they want to see if you can bridge the gap between knowing a theory and translating it into a student's cognitive framework. So it is about communication, emotional intelligence, and pedagogy combined. So let's first look at the core characteristics of teaching. So pay close attention here because this frequently show up in the choose the correct statements option. First, teaching is both an art and a science. Why a science? Because it is a structured, logical, follows distinct psychological principles and involves measurable objectives. Why an art? Because it requires immense creativity, intuition, and a fluid ability to adapt to a room full of unique, unpredictable human minds in real time. Secondly, it is continuous, dynamic, and social. So, it doesn't stop when the bell rings. It constantly evolves based on societal needs, technological shift, and cultural context. Third, and this is a major exam trap, teaching is not an indoctrination or conditioning. Let's clear this misinformation right now. So, what do you mean by conditioning? Conditioning basically refers to shaping rigid, repetitive behavior, for example, like training a habit. And indoctrination is like forcing a specific belief system without allowing questions. So, teaching is just liberating the mind, encouraging critical thinking and learner autonomy. Therefore, it never ever supports the idea of conditioning or indoctrination. So, ultimately, we got to know that teaching aims at intellectual development, whereas indoctrination aims at uncritical acceptance. Keep the distinction firmly in mind. So, now let's quickly move to the functions. So, what does teaching actually do? In educational psychology, the functions of teaching are broadly broken down into three major diagnostic and systematic steps. First one, the diagnostic function. So, as before a doctor prescribes a particular sort of medicine, they diagnose the patient to detect his or her illness. Similarly, a teacher must first identify the student's entry level knowledge, their weaknesses, and their learning gaps. Second one, the remedial function. Once the particular sort of gap is identified, the teacher provides the remedy. This involves choosing the right instructional strategy, clearing doubts, and shifting teaching styles to fit the learner. And third, we have the evaluation function. This is where we check if the remedy actually works. Has the desired behavioral and cognitive change taken place? So let's end this video today and we will meet tomorrow with the same time and I will bring forth the various levels of teaching which is frequently asked in UGC